Welcome to the show, everybody. Micah with Coronavirus Diaries. And today I'm fortunate enough to be able to speak again with Kasper, a Melbourne-based artist in Australia. Kasper, for the viewers, listeners that haven't maybe ever heard of you or seen your work, please explain, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm an artist, like you said, out of Melbourne at the moment. Mostly spray painting, like I paint big walls and stuff. I came from a graffiti background, but now it's turned from the thing that gets me in trouble to the thing that sort of pays me and is my full-time gig, which is really weird. But yeah, painting, traveling. It's actually where I met you in Thailand, painting a few murals over there, and yeah, just a creative visual arts mostly, and big, crazy, colorful, weird stuff. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Great explanation. You said something before I ask you anything about what's going on with any COVID, whatever in Melbourne. I'm curious. You said it's weird, right? Like you're like, oh yeah, you're doing something that you're passionate about. You're making a living. You said it's weird. Why? Like, I'm curious. Why do you perceive it as being weird?
I guess coming from just being a little town kid in Queensland, like the middle of nowhere, and just doing graffiti and stuff, it never seemed like anyone should ever give a crap about what I'm doing or where I'm doing it. So I guess just over time, like it's a strange thing. No matter how many things I painted for this or that income, or whatever it is, where it seems like somewhere holds you up and goes like you're a talented, you know what you're doing type of thing. I guess I just always sort of seem like a bit of a fake or a phony. Like I had these two commissions come through like 3 days ago or something for these paintings, big paintings. They sent me through images of works I'd done previously that I like myself, but they're a little weird and wacky or whatever. And it says, we want 2 paintings done. We want them this size and all this type of stuff. It's weird to get that bing on your phone and be like, this person wants you to make your art for them. So I don't know.
Paid, and they're paying you.
Yeah, but I mean, I should be used to it. It's been enough years, but I guess the old insecure artists. Yeah, I'm the classic. I could be the poster boy for that. I guess that's yeah.
So, kind of curious when before we had started this, we were chatting a little bit, and just talking about the commissions that you've gotten, and this idea of seeing some old work that you've done, and how somebody kind of gravitated towards that and said, do something like this for me again, and then you elevate it. You mind sharing a little bit about kind of how you do that when you see this stuff, how you pick it apart. It seems like you are your biggest critic. Kind of just how you've shared a little bit about your artwork and that. So you have kind of this approach. I'm curious, how did you approach these commissions that you just got when you're looking at it? You said that, yeah, it's kind of a little wonky. You're picking your stuff apart. How do you pick it apart and then move forward with it?
I guess there's new things you learn along the way from either interactions or someone teaching you or just sort of trying something experimental. And from the paintings that they referenced to that they wanted, like sort of like that with these 2 commissions, for example, I saw techniques that I can do now in a different way that's better. It's just like anything else, getting better at stuff and at time and effort. Like for example, in one of the paintings, I have a technique used by like this legendary Australian artist named John Murray. He paints crazy kangaroos and all like Australian like outback characters. The dude's like 60, I think he's 63 now, and he comes to Melbourne in like 2-month intervals and just bombs everything, all the laneways, climbing up bins, ladders. So it's crazy. Like when he comes, we can actually there's a lot of gray areas in Melbourne, like the laneways and stuff. So when he comes, I'm kicking it with this dude with gray hair, and he's put together well, looks professional, painting with a brush, and we can get away with a lot more stuff. But yeah, like for example, John taught me this technique and how you put like a landscape into a pupil, so you can sort of see it through the eye. It's reflecting back, and it's super quick and easy. And I put that when I saw the previous painting. I saw the eyes, and I was like, yeah, let's see what it looks like with this. And the whole thing just sort of exploded off the
Wow.
piece. So just stuff like that, just learn as you go. Yeah.
So the last session that we had about 2 weeks ago, you had mentioned a big project. Was that the gentleman that you were talking about going out painting some big silo with? Was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
okay? Is there any more talk on that, or what's happening with? I guess you're getting commissions that are coming in that you're able to kind of do and then ship out. But are you kind of on lockdown in terms of just being able to get out and go and do stuff?
Yeah, like it's pretty weird going forwards because the past like week or two I had a commission mural, like a job that was something like I'd never paint before. As at a gym with this guy like flexing. It was this big back muscle pose, I'm this little skinny skater kid. I rocked up. I'm like, hey man, yeah, pay your wall. So that paid well, gym, professional, and everything, because they had to take it back to their house, their gym, because obviously they can't have a big facility. And then I had these commission jobs. So now that's all done. Going forward, I have no idea what's going to happen for the next like month after this. I have a power box project. I'm painting a power box for the city, and then also painting a sculpture thing being installed in the city as well. And they're two like really big sort of jobs, all professionally
Amazing.
put. Yeah, not just a random person from the public. But they have a little bit of time, 1 month and 2 months away. So for now, like I don't know. I guess I just got to get my thinking cap on and try to figure out how to make this work. Because, yeah, I don't know. Nothing's promised, but I mean that's how it always is. It's just sometimes I have the chance to fall back on like part-time work or a mural that I don't want to do, that I'm not interested in, or something like that. But
Sure.
not too many people want their walls painted when they can hardly pay their rent. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of the in the States here. I know you've traveled over here to you're out in Seattle, in Washington, right? While you're out here, and then I think a little bit in California. But in Michigan, it's not too far from where I'm at in Minnesota. They just hit 25% unemployment. So out of all the people working, has hit 25% unemployment. And I think that's the first state in the U.S. that's kind of hitting these like massive numbers. Are you guys kind of seeing that out in Melbourne as well? You're talking about not being able to get commissions. One of the things that they're trying to do here in the States is it's called 1099. It's basically contract work or consultant work or like gig work, kind of like what you do. It would be considered 1099 how you file. And they didn't used to have certain luxuries of unemployment for that demographic, but they've opened it up. Do they have stuff like that available for somebody like yourself that does like consulting or contract work, commission work?
Nothing that I've seen, but there is actually a lot of stuff that Australia is doing for their people, like financially and stuff. There's two main things at the moment. One of them is called a JobKeeper allowance, and that's for anyone who's lost their job due to either a 30% downturn in income or just like complete uh, being forced to shut, like a retail store or a
Sure.
restaurant. So they're actually paying their employees $750 per week, just as it's being funded through the council. It goes straight through and straight to their bank account. Like my partner at the moment, she's out of work and she manages a ballet store or dance equipment and everything. And yeah, she's getting $750 per week paid. And it's really great. It's keeping a lot of people on their feet. And other than that, there's a thing called a job seeker. So if you've been completely made redundant and you're a casual and that you don't have all the benefits and such, then you can go on a job seeker allowance, and I forget the exact amount for that, but it's something like 550. So it's really amazing how many options there are out there. But
Nice.
for myself in particular, I'm in a bit of a weird spot because like I've had enough money come through my bank account as a sole trader this month to not qualify for those payments, even though the amount that I've made for this month will like just pay my rent. So
Sure.
it's really hard to choose whether to take on these jobs and then be in situations like this where I don't know what the hell is going to happen next week and I may have nothing going on, or I
Sure.
can apply for this allowance and get a decent amount of cash easily to be able to fund me just in general day to day and be like comfortable, because
Roof over your head, food on your plate, clothes on your back. Yeah.
Weird when you have a form of income, because like, for example, coming up next month is that power box thing, and the amount of income that I'll be getting for that is, it's reasonable, but the amount that I've spent on paint and everything now leading up to it, like once that payment comes through, all they're going to see is like a certain digit on the payment coming through my bank account, not understanding how much my expenses were and everything. So
Right.
it's a bit, for someone who's a sole trader like myself, where jobs can just come through whenever, whenever, so randomly.
Yeah, it's
It's
feast and famine, right? We say feast and famine means sometimes you got so many contracts, you've got a feast in front of you, and other times you're scratching, coins out of the couch just to make ends meet.
yeah, yeah. It's seeming like it's going more to the famine side of things, but
So
uh,
with the city commission, the power box, do you foresee that? Have they talked to you about whether or not that's still going to be a reality in a month, or how do you perceive kind of what's happening in Melbourne, what's happening with the lockdown and the virus?
well, at the moment, there's four different categories for why you're allowed to go outside. One of them's essential work. The other one's exercise, essential work, toiletries, groceries, and there's one other which I can't remember off the top of my head. But apparently, me going to paint this power box falls under those regulations. So
Nice.
yeah, it's just me out in the open. They're even going to tie like little hazardous string around you to keep everybody away if they were to approach. So my risk is like, 0 to whatever. But I mean, that doesn't always stop city projects. Quite often there's some pretty weird rules and pieces of paper and all this type of stuff. So I was surprised. I was like, there's no way they're going to go through with it. But yeah, no, it's good. I'll be all healthy and get to do a painting, so
Yeah.
it'll be nice.
Send in all the good vibes for that. Curious, you were talking a little bit about it sounds like red tape. We talk about red tape in the States that, and that's hurdles getting projects going, or all the contract stuff. What's some of the, like a difficult aspect of doing what you do in terms of these contracts, and whether it's, state or government work or commission work? Is there something that you've picked up in the last couple of years that
Yeah,
initially you were just kind of?
for bigger projects like that, it's usually just the small things that it requires. Like, for example, for this power box thing, I just got an email this morning saying what I'm going to need to be on site. So I need to do a site. There's so much red tape, as you would say, around this project.
I'm waiting for
So
you to say you need a helmet and a yellow jacket or something, like a yellow vest.
in my car, I need water. I need all my materials and everything, but I also need to have a medic kit, and I need to have eye washing um, stuff, water, whatever, and MDSH sheets, a safety thing. Like, it's all filled out. Like, I don't have a medic kit. Like, I'm just some artist. Like, I'm there to paint. I don't have washing ointment, and like, it's just such a weird expense to buy, put in my car, and then just never use it. But
Yeah.
it's the little things like that. But it's not worth complaining or anything about. But it's just funny when you open that email and you're like, like, do I?
Right.
You just have to buy that brush and this color, but I have to buy this, like, a new med kit and enjoy, enjoy stuff like that. Just
Are you able
thing.
to write in new line items with the contract? So you invoice them for doing a project. They send you this email. Are you able to kind of say, "Hey, I'm happy to do this," but are you able to write in, an extra 250 or 300 something, for the like itemize the stuff that they've suggested, and say, my bid was only for the supplies necessary to do the painting, not for, medical kit and eye wash and all that.
I think for this project, probably not, because they didn't just hire me directly. This was a program that I applied for, and basically the payment said all items included. This is the set budget. Send in your proposal, your design, and your concept and everything. And I was one of I think it was 4 artists that were selected for the program. So I doubt. I think that would have just been like, well, that's sort of included in this, even
Sure.
though we're waiting for a painting job, you're not really thinking about packing like a med kit. It's different. Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's so you learn from it. Next time you'll have the med kit, so you won't have to buy it. You can spend more on your paints. But before we started the session, you were talking a little bit about a project that you'd worked on that got some wild traction on your social media, but it was just you grabbed a chunk of like wood out back and you just had some fun. Do you foresee doing anything like that in the near future now? You're talking about kind of your schedule might be a little uncertain. Do you have ideas for things to fill it, to fill your time or?
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's always projects I want to do. Like, I was brushing on last time that I was having a chat that I was painting all the skateboards that I sort of showed in the video as well. Those skateboards have been put on hold just because I've gone through all of them. I had 8 boards and they're all done. So I want to do 20, and right now is the absolute perfect time to be doing it. But I like to just paint on secondhand boards because they look like a little bit eroded and they have more of a story. And I've hit up all my mates. Usually I go to the skate shop if I'm super low for boards, but obviously they're not open. So at the moment I'm like, I don't even know where to get them from. So I guess I'll be filling my time in with different projects. I've been thinking of different concepts for like a podcast and maybe even teaching along like with some workshop style things. But every day is different. Sometimes I'll have different ideas. Like yesterday, my partner brought home a coloring in book, and I was like, why don't you color in my work? Like I got all this coloring my stuff. Like, gosh, I was almost like or something else, flicking through this book, like, oh man, I could do so much better than this. But so
Make a
yeah,
coloring book.
so I've created a little miniature coloring in zine. I created that a little while back. That's all done and everything. But so I just went online and created a free for download coloring in page. So yeah, like yesterday I had no idea I was going to do that, but then my girlfriend came home and I was like, yeah, there's a little bit of inspiration there, and then this and that, and sometimes it's a little bit more planned out. Usually it's better in the long term that way, but I get bored of things really quick. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I know we're hitting that time. It's midday where you're at, and it's late at night where I'm at. I can't thank you enough for jumping on this. It's always good to catch up. We'll definitely do this again. For all the listeners, viewers, all of Kasper's information will be in the section below. The About section, you'll be able to find out how to reach out to him. He's still doing commissions. He does ship internationally. Definitely check it out. Kasper, thank you again. Always a pleasure. And for the viewers and listeners, stick around. We got more coming at you.